Here's something that I hear from potential sellers is that they are worried that their home is not going to pass a home inspection. I have very good news for you if you're thinking about selling anytime soon and you're worried about your home passing or failing a home inspection. darlacansell, real estate agent with Real Brokers, servicing all of Louisiana. If you are a seller, and if you're a buyer, most specifically the Acadiana region, pretty much anywhere between, I would say probably anywhere between Breaux Bridge, Lake Charles, Alexandria. I'll go pretty far depending on how high your budget is as a buyer. And I guarantee you, if you're thinking about buying or selling, you want me on your side, because negotiating for you is my strong point. So let's talk about inspections. I'm on my way today for an inspection. I represent the sellers and the buyer on this one. So the buyer chose their very own inspector, someone who I do not know, I'm not affiliated with, I've never heard of this person. But the great news is, as a buyer, you get to choose any inspector that you want to inspect the home during your due diligence or inspection period. The great news for you as a seller is that your home cannot fail an inspection. It cannot. An inspector has a list of things that they must look for on any house that they inspect, which means they're looking at the roof, they're looking at your foundation. If it's on piers, they're crawling underneath and looking at the subfloors. They're looking at the plumbing, the electrical. They're getting in the attic. They're basically an investigator for your home. It cannot fail an inspection. So every inspector has a different key, I guess you would call it, where green are things that they found that are fine or in good condition, they're up to code, they're not in need of any kind of repair. Yellow usually are things that need to be looked at, may need to be, let's say your air conditioner may need to be cleaned. That may be yellow, that it's really fine, it's in great condition, but it just needs a good, possibly cleaning or servicing. Red items are things that are either not up to code or that are in need of repair. When I represent buyers, the great news for you as the seller is that when I represent you as the seller, you're going to be very, very proactive, because I'm going to tell you all of the things that you should know, that you should look for and get repaired before inspection. As the buyer, what I'm going to say to you is that it doesn't matter if the home was built yesterday or was built 100 years ago. There is no such thing as a perfect house. An inspector's job is to find things that are in need of repair. That's their job. They're like an investigator for the home. So you as a seller, being as proactive as humanly possible and making sure that there are a little amount of things as possible for an inspector to find, is going to give that inspector a great first impression. And that's the impression that you want to give as the seller, is that you took great pride in your home and you took great care of it. So simple things like making sure that your air conditioning filter is clean and that all that area around where the filter is clean. That all of your outlet covers have faceplates, right? All of your light switches have faceplates. All of the bulbs in your house are in working condition, that you don't have any burnt bulbs. Just all of those little things that add up to big things, or that you give a first impression as the seller to the home inspector, who, remember, the buyer gets to choose the inspector. You want to give the great first impression that you took great pride in your home and that you took good care of it. And look, if you have not, listen, we all have very, very, very busy lives. And I know that when my kids were in sports and we were gone, it seemed like more than we were ever at home. Things probably fell by the wayside and needed to be done, right? They needed to be repaired. they needed to be maintained, all those things. Life gets in the way and life gets busy. But if you want, as a seller, to maximize profits on the future sale of your home, then be super proactive with fixing anything that you know that an inspector is going to find. Things that are very common is that pipes underneath sinks, when we put things, especially like under the kitchen sink or in the bathroom sinks, we're putting things in and out underneath those sinks, those pipes get loose, and sometimes there's a very small leak underneath that you just don't even know about. So little things like those kinds of things make a big deal, make a big difference. You as the seller want to give the best first impression to that inspector that you took great pride in your home. So the great news is it can't fail. Your home cannot fail an inspection. It cannot. Every single thing is repairable. Everything is fixable. Anything can be brought up to code. But what I would say to you as a seller is if you're thinking about selling anytime soon, do not spend a whole lot of money preparing your home to hit the market. Fix all those little things like leaks, like missing faceplates, if you're missing handrails on your steps, things like that. All those little things that are not going to cost you a whole lot of money. Do not spend a whole lot of money to prepare your house to sell. At least not until you talk to a real estate agent who you know, like, and trust, and who you know closes lots and lots of transactions. You do not, as a seller, want to be spending thousands upon thousands of dollars to prepare your home to sell. You should not have to. You should absolutely not have to. Listen, unless you've been living in this home for a very long time and you have just done nothing, right? Which is not very common at all. Y'all have a fabulous day. Enjoy this weather. If you're in South Louisiana today, it is close to perfect. This is a great time to be a seller, and it's an even better time to be a buyer because the rates are pretty good. They're actually pretty good. So it's a great time to be a seller. Y'all take care.